Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with the Last Huntsman channel here, and today I am going to be reviewing one hell of an awesome knife. And I've only done one other knife from this company, and it's a Bark River, and this is the Los Lobos. And I think this is by far my favorite Bark River knife. Stay tuned and let's check this bad boy out. Okay, so this is the Los Lobos. Obviously it comes with the Bark River well-known sheaths that they make. I really like this sheath overall. I kind of have one little complaint about it, and I think that is the same complaint some other people's had, is this thing is like way too wide on this belt loop here. It's like you can't hardly keep anything else on your belt. It's just that belt loop. Let's pull this knife out. I'm trying to do this with one hand while trying to film, so apologize here. This thing is a recurve full convex grind. And this thing is absolutely nice. It's designed by S. Wink. There's the guy's name there. The handle looks very nice. Of course, there's an assortment of different handle skills you can get for it. I got this one. I kind of liked the way it looked. But, yeah. And I will say, out of the box, this is the sharpest knife I think I've ever messed with. I've seen a few other people on video and forums say that, but they weren't lying. To just be totally honest, this thing is the sharpest knife I've ever gotten out of the box, and I think it's one of the sharpest I've ever seen in general. But obviously I got its companion right there, Ruger Mark IV target model. I'm gonna have to be doing a review on this pistol before too long, because I'm a big fan of it and I like it a lot better than my old Mark III. But let's keep to the topic at hand now. Let's test out this. Alright, so this knife is not a huge knife. It's about a 6-inch blade. Well, it's a little right at a 6-inch blade, I think. Maybe a little more, give or take. I don't got the exact specs. It is 3/16, however, well, which I actually like better. I think a lot of the Bark River knives I think are a little too thick. You know, being more than a 1/4 inch thick, I think is a little too much. But this one, that's actually one of the main reasons why I got it, was because it wasn't super thick. Starting off, let's try a little bit of de-limbing here. Like I said, this ain't gonna be some super chopping knife, but I think it will do some light chopping. Almost like a laser beam taking these little limbs off and stuff, and I mean, chop into this tree. Chop this one down. Would have got it in 2 hits, but second hit I kind of missed, so that was my bad, not the knife. Yeah, this thing can de-limb pretty well. Let's test a little bit of heavier duty chopping here. Alright, so this is that same cedar tree that I chopped down with the SE Hungless. Let's just do a quick little tin chop test with this thing. And actually, while I'm talking about chopping here, this handle, the way they designed this handle, where it flares out huge at the bottom, allows for a lot of good 3-finger action. And that belly on there, I have a feeling this thing's gonna do good. Camera's wanting to bounce around on me here. Hit 12. Here, let's check this out. Alright, so the damage for a medium-sized knife is actually pretty damn good. I'm gonna have to maybe do a test, like a comparison between this and the Becker BK7 and the SE6. But first of all, I feel like I need to do a review on the 7. But I think this is about the same kind of use for a knife, like kind of a mid-weight survival knife. So I think it's a good comparison for the SE6 and BK7. I may have to pull those into this video. But let's fell a small tree with this thing. Let's see how well it can do some other chopping. Alright, so I'm going to fell this small little tree. You guys can kind of get a size comparison. So it's about, I don't know, 2 inches in diameter, give or take. So it's not real big. And this is probably a little more than what I'd want to do with this knife anyways normally, but I just want to test it to its fullest potential here. But I don't know what kind of tree this is. Don't worry, to all tree huggers, I'm probably going to use it anyways for my shelters. Thing just has so much bite to it though. I can take it down quick. Just like that. This thing is one hell of a chopper for its size. Alright, so this is the part where everybody likes to cringe, but I'm going to be doing a stabbing / tip testing here. And some people are like, oh, that's abuse for, you know, a knife. But here's my opinion. If you're going to pay high dollar for a knife, I know knives that's like right at $100, like the SE6 or the BK7, that can do this all day long. This is like pushing a $300 knife. So with this A2 tool steel, it should be able to do this all day long here. Yeah, taking those chunks of wood. Thing sinks in very well. Now, I think the main idea behind this design is to be more of like a hunting / skinning knife. However, I think this thing would lend itself very well as like a tactical combat blade as well. And stab, do some stabs. This thing sinks. Only thing I am noticing that I'm not caring for with the stabbing, and this is one thing I didn't care about the design, I don't know why in the hell they had to put this super sharp point here. And the moment I seen this knife, I was telling myself I might have to grind that off. And I'm already telling myself that now, because when I'm stabbing especially, my hand is just getting, especially my pinky, or I know even if I was to wield it like this, my hand would be just getting destroyed by that sharp edge there. And so I have no idea why they put that on there. Like, I don't even think it looks that cool. So I mean, I'd rather have like a flat point, just like, even if they wanted it for a guard, they could have just had like a squared off guard or a rounded off guard stick out here, but instead they put this really sharp point. And so that's one major design flaw that I don't really care for with this particular knife, but overall I'm really liking this thing. Alright, so I'm gonna give this thing a shot again at some batoning. I'm thinking with that full convex grind, when you're thinking about how that thing is, you would think it would wedge, but I think it's almost getting wedged into the wood and not exactly splitting like a saber grind or a full flat grind can do. But we'll try this again. Maybe I just had to, there we go. Maybe just that one piece was being a bastard. Let's split this one up again. I'm not right now. I could tell batoning maybe this thing's weak spot. It's not doing terrible, but it's not like doing super great either. Which, like I said, I don't think this is designed really to be a survival knife, so to speak. I think this was kind of more along the lines of a large skinning knife. However, I think it can do the job if you need it to. So it can get through. I'm just kind of getting used to it, knowing its limitations here. Let me do one more here. Well, it can get it done. I don't think as good as some others, but it can get it done. Alright, so something else I'm going to mess with the Bark River Los Lobos here. I'm going to try to do some feather sticking. Now this can kind of be a little tedious with the full convex grind just because they are so different than a lot of other knives. But I'm going to take a crack at it. I'm not particularly great at this either, so... doing so great, and I don't think it's totally the knife. I think it just might be me not being used to it. Starting to get the hang of it. I think what it is more so than the full convex grind is the fact that it's a recurve, and so you're like having to like adjust your cutting so much with that. So to me, it's almost easier if you just start on the inside of the belly here. A little better like that. This is actually one of many reasons why I've never really cared for recurve edges. However, I liked the way this knife looked, so I decided to give it a try. But I think recurves are not only harder to sharpen, but they also are kind of harder to work with in a lot of ways. I am getting a tad bit of a hot spot with this handle too. And I think overall the handle ergonomics is good for whatever reason. But I can bust out some feathers if need be. Let's try something else here. Let's see if I can make a notch here real quick. Steady platform here. Let's try a first square notch here. Oh, that's perfect right out of the first try. No whittling involved. So there's my notch. There's some feathers. Not the best feathers in the world, but you can do it. That's for you bushcrafty type of guys. Alright, so the next test I'm going to do is I'm going to do some kind of knife combatives with it. See how well this thing could actually work as like a soldier blade. There's a few little things already right off the bat that I don't care for this for like a potential fighting knife, so to speak. Is one, that sharp point that I pointed out earlier. I think that's kind of awkward. And also, this is just a me thing, but a leather sheath with the snap here, it'd be kind of slow to deploy it, and if you needed to use it as like a fighting knife, so to speak, as like a soldier knife or fighting off zombies or wild animals or whatever, then, you know, it can be a little slow to have to sit there and pop the snap and draw it out that way versus like a Kydex that you could just yank on it and pop it right out. But let's just test this thing here. This thing is pretty quick in hand, I will give it that. That's why I actually this thing ain't too bad. It actually works pretty well. And, you know, after all this testing, still holding its shape pretty well. I don't see any nicks or dings in that edge. Let's see if it's still hair shaving sharp like it was out of the box here. Still shaving hair. So Bark River's A2 tool steel, pretty good. Alright, so something else I will show you guys here is some comparative options other than the Los Lobos. This is of course one of my favorites, the SE6, and I got the Becker BK7 here, which I really like as well. And so something to note is this one here with a leather sheath cost almost twice as much as what the SE6 with custom grips on it, or the BK7 with micarta grips and a Kydex sheath made for it. So this, however, while it is a very nice and good knife, just forewarning, it is pretty expensive. So just kind of consider that when picking out a knife. Okay, so overall, I'm really liking this knife. There's a few little things I don't like. I obviously don't care for this sharp point here. It's pointless. And this is just a me preference thing. So nothing against, you know, Bark River or anything like that. But I really like textured handle scales, kind of like the G10 handle scales that I got for my SE from the Knife Connection, or like the micarta scales you can get for like the Beckers or some of the other knives, like this super smooth, super polished out handles. While I think they look aesthetically nice and look cool, they don't really offer much traction even with leather gloves on. And so when you're doing a lot of really hard chopping, or you know, doing your knife combatives type of stuff, then it wants to slip out of your hand. And I had the same issue with the other Bark River Bravo 1.25 that I have. And while their handle ergonomics are great, I mean, you can tell this thing is awesome, that is kind of overshadowed by the fact that it's just so smooth. And so I may have to try to add a little bit of texture to this maybe. But with all that being said, overall I really like this knife. This thing is absolutely, you know, it's definitely a collector's thing, and it's kind of hard to even want to thrash on it like I did. But you know what, to me, if you're going to spend $250, $300 on a knife, it better be like out of the box, really freaking nice, and be able to take anything you can throw at it. So with all that being said, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless. Carry on.